Milling Through History presents the Orient Express. There is perhaps no other train in the world that automatically creates certain images of luxury and grandeur like that of the Orient Express. The name itself sounds almost romantic, and for many couples who have ever gone on this particular train trip, admit that it is certainly a very romantic one, as just the thought of being on the train and looking at the sights of the landscape of Europe certainly goes ahead and evokes such a grandeur all its own. And yet the train has its own unique history. It begins in 1882 as Georges Nagelmacher would invite guests on his lightning luxury train, departing from Paris and going to Vienna in less than 15 hours. Guests were so amazed that within a year, on June the 5th, 1883, the first Orient Express would leave from Paris to Vienna, but would never be officially given the title of Orient Express until 1891. Now, throughout the years, there have been 5 different routes for the train, as there's always been an Orient Express, but it tends to have some additional titles to it. The primary route, which is the original, would have the Orient Express go from Paris to Istanbul, either by direct train route, which leaves from Paris, going through Vienna, Budapest, Bucharest, and ends in Istanbul, or through a ferry, which would take the train from Bucharest to Varna, and then the ferry over the Black Sea to Istanbul. Another train is the Simplon Orient Express, which will take you from Paris through Milan, Venice, Belgrade, Sofia, and Istanbul. The Arlberg Orient Express would start in London and then go through Paris, Zurich, Vienna, Budapest, and then ends in either Bucharest or Athens. The Venice Simplon Orient Express would start in Calais and go through Paris, Milan, and ends in Venice. And finally, there was the OBB 262-263 Orient Express, which started in Paris and ended in Budapest from 1977 until 2001, then was shortened to Paris to Vienna from 2001 to 2007, and finally Strasbourg to Vienna from 2007 to 2009. Now, as a legacy, though, the train has always been known for its opulence, and service had been suspended during both world wars. Yet its heyday would be the 1930s, as royalty, nobles, diplomats, business people, and the bourgeois would ride the train. Sadly, though, the Cold War would probably create the most issues for the Orient Express, as the descent of the Iron Curtain would force the train from being run throughout Europe, or at least within Eastern Europe, trains would have to be run according to Soviet schedules. And even though the original train itself no longer exists, a worldly traveler can still put together a train trip which would take them throughout the entire route if they so desired. There is, however, a London to Venice train, which does go by the title of the Venice Simplon Orient Express, and it can cost upwards to £2,500 just to go ahead and take the full route. But according to all those who take the train, while it is expensive, it is definitely worth it. But the Orient Express is probably most famously found within pop culture, as in literature, there have been numerous sightings of the Orient Express. In the book Dracula, the group of men led by Jonathan Harker who are out to destroy Dracula will use the Orient Express and go to Varna, and by reaching that town, they had actually beaten the vampire. Agatha Christie would write one of her most famous books, The Murder on the Orient Express. And Ian Fleming would have James Bond on the Orient Express in From Russia with Love. When it comes to film, though, there have been 3 films taking Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express and putting it there, allowing people to see just what the inside of the train looks like and giving them reason to want to ride it even more. Those 3 versions starred Albert Finney as Hercule Poirot, David Suchet taking up the mantle of Poirot, and most recently, Kenneth Branagh and his amazing mustache playing the role of Hercule Poirot. Be sure to click like, share, and subscribe for future episodes of Milling Through History, and leave comments below for future episode ideas. And be sure to take a look at our suggested reading page.